Welcome to this episode of the Straight Edge Game Room, where today I'm going to be playing Godzilla Daikaiju Daikessen, which I will be playing on my Super Nintendo using this. You know, Biollante is supposed to be bigger than all of them, but that's the only Biollante figure I have. Let's get into it. You'll have to excuse the AC running behind me if you can hear it as I talk over this game. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's always hot over here. Though the weather app says we're only in the 80s, for some reason it feels much hotter than that. Godzilla Daikaiju Daikessen, or Godzilla Great Monster Battle, or Godzilla Monster War. Whatever you call it, it's an instantly likable game if you're into the Godzilla franchise. However, the gameplay leaves much to be desired. That's not to say this is a bad game. There's a lot in this game that I like very much, and I like what they did in paying homage to many of the Godzilla films from the late Showa era to the mid-Heisei era. But the controls take some getting used to, so I recommend going into setup and selecting practice mode. There's no shame in that, because this game is going to kick your butt on normal or expert. So get a feel for this game first, and then play at a higher difficulty. In the normal arcade mode, you can play as one of 8 monsters from the Showa and Heisei era, be it Godzilla, Anguirus, King Ghidorah, Gigan, Mothra, Biollante, Mechagodzilla, and Megalon. One thing I really like about the normal arcade mode is you don't have to be at the mercy of the computer concerning who you fight next. You can pick your next opponent. Once you enter battle mode with that character, it gives you a title card, and you fight them in a stage that corresponds with whatever movie that monster starred in. I really like that. I think that's cool. And the music in this is something else. Though the music in this game is not perfect, I really love how they added the Mothra theme when you select Mothra. That was a really nice touch. I really enjoyed that. For most of the game, it has music that's original to this game, but they're not taken from any soundtrack of other Godzilla movies. And I don't have a problem with the music that they added. I don't dislike it, but I would have liked to hear more music from the actual movies that these monsters correspond with. That would have made this game a whole lot more interesting. If you play this game at a higher difficulty, don't be afraid to fight dirty, because these monsters fight dirty and they use cheap moves, especially King Ghidorah and Gigan. So you just gotta go for it, and if you gotta keep using the same move, do it, because these monsters will. If you beat the games on certain difficulties, you can unlock other monsters like Super Mechagodzilla and the Gotengo, or you can put in a code at the select screen. I recommend doing that better. There are in fact a total of 3 different playable characters you can unlock, if you count the 2 Mechagodzillas. Mechagodzilla 2, Super Mechagodzilla, and the Gotengo. I would have never guessed they would put the Gotengo in this one. The Gotengo was not in any Godzilla movie until Godzilla Final Wars, and this game predates that by many years. I think it's neat that the programmers added those 3 unlockable characters, but they do you a great disservice by making them playable only in the Versus mode. You cannot play as them in the normal arcade mode, and that's a crying shame. Another great disservice about the Versus mode itself is you cannot fight against the computer. You have to have a second player. And I really wanted to show you how these monsters play, but I didn't have anybody else to play this game with me, so all I can do is kick enemies while they're down. Being that this is a Super Famicom / Super Nintendo game, it does have that ever-nagging nuisance of the screen being cropped during gameplay. That doesn't ruin the game entirely. This game is still fun despite that. Another thing you gotta take into account that it does have quite a bit of slowdown, and a lot of Super Nintendo games have that. I think this game would have benefited in having a port to the Sega Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis as it's known here in the States. The graphics and the sound wouldn't be quite as dynamic, but the aspect ratio and the speed would have been a little bit better. Now concerning the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, I can do a whole nother video about that, but in short, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm saying that one console does things better than the other, and vice versa. If you're a Godzilla fan, Godzilla Daikaiju Daikessen is a great game, but there are a lot of things holding it back from it being excellent. But if you are a Godzilla fan, this game definitely belongs in your collection. You won't likely find this game at any local retailer, however it's readily available on Amazon, eBay, and other online retailers, and it's not astronomically expensive. So if you're a huge Godzilla fan, I definitely recommend picking this up. If you're just a casual gamer, this game might not be worth importing over here. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Straight Edge Game Room. If you enjoyed this program, please leave a like, subscribe, share on social media, tell all your friends about this channel. If you have any recommendations, any requests for what you want me to review next, please leave it down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. King Ghidorah, he was missing from the group earlier, but I do have him.